Hello everyone, Lionel Wilson here, and I'm making a short video because I want to share some concepts, some things that's going on in my life that I am learning that I believe will be very beneficial, extremely beneficial for you. And let me start with explaining, currently I am 50 years young. 50 years young. And I turned 50 in June of 2016. Right now is, when I'm making this video, is March 1st of 2017. I made a decision when I turned 50 that I intended for this year to be significant. Not that every year is not significant, but I really wanted this year to be significant for me, as I kind of counted it as halfway through my life, if you will. So I really began to ponder that, pray, what do I really want to accomplish in this year? What I came up with was I wanted to study the mind. See, I've been studying the mind for years, but not on the level that I want to study it on. I want to get very deep and really understand how the mind works. What causes people to be successful and other people to fail, when more than likely one person is not necessarily more intelligent than the other. And some people are accomplishing great things in their lives, and then others just barely make it through life. They're just barely making it. So what's the difference? So I began to seek that out and look at studying the mind, and as I began to search, I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of ideas. And then I found somebody that I believed was the authority on this topic, and his name is Bob Proctor. And as I began to listen to his material, I was like, wow, this guy is head and shoulders over everything else that I've been listening to. And the fact that he'd been studying it for the last 55 years was extremely impressive to me. He started at age 26, and he has studied this in his entire life, pretty much. So he really understands this topic very well, and I'm going to share some of these ideas with you. And before I do, I want to share a few tools that I'm using, and believe that these will be beneficial for you as well. So I'm going to share these. The first one is just a journal. So, I mean, I basically journal almost every day, and things that I'm learning, what's going on in my day, and my growth, my observations, things that I'm aware of. So anyway, getting your thoughts on paper really matters, because then you get to go back and reread. I go back and reread every year my journals, and then I'm like, wow, all of a sudden I start seeing the dots coming together, and you see the dots coming together by looking back, not projecting it. So that's the one thing. The second thing is, as I began to study Bob Proctor, he speaks of a book that massively influenced his life to the success that he has had. And so I'm studying that book now. I've read it years ago, but it didn't have the impact on me like it is now. That book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So 13 major concepts in that. So also is a little book. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And it's really just a little, almost a pamphlet, extremely powerful on the mind. And then the last one, and I've got several more, but these are the ones that I wanted to share with you, is The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was actually Bob Proctor's mentor, and or one of them, I should say. All right, so those are some tools for you. Here's what I want to bring to you just today, and then I plan on bringing additional concepts as I learn. I'm just going to repeat them, because the fastest way and the most effective way that somebody can learn is by teaching. So that's the reason I'm doing this, and I'm going to teach lessons to help you, and in turn it helps me. So it's a win-win, right? All right, so I got my pen. I just want to walk through, when you think about the mind, let me just bring you real quick. What's your picture of the mind? Because we all think in pictures. That's how we think. So if I was to tell you, think about your living room, for example. You know, picture your couch, chairs, whatever it is that's in your living room. You got a pretty good visual of that, right? Go into your kitchen, refrigerator, right? What does your countertops look like? What's sitting on the... You can visualize what that looks like. Your bedroom, same thing. Walk into your garage, maybe it needs cleaned, but you can picture that. Now picture the mind. What is the mind? Nobody has a picture of the mind because nobody has ever seen the mind. People confuse it often with the brain. They take the brain and think that that's the mind. It's not the mind. The mind controls the brain, which controls the body, which gives us our results. So I want to walk you through this a little bit and give you a picture. Bob shares a illustration to give us a visual of the mind, and I went ahead and started it to save time. So kind of looks like this. If you would just take this concept and break your mind into two pieces. So we have our conscious mind here on top and our subconscious mind below. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the body. So this is the body here. Big mind, little body. And what comes through our conscious mind is, think of that as your thinking mind. It's the intellectual mind. So I'm going to write up here thinking. Put a little... This is your thinking mind. This is where we come up with great ideas. They get stored in there. It's exciting, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get anything done. It doesn't mean that it's ever going to happen. It's in the subconscious mind that it actually happens. Now, built into that subconscious mind are a bunch of things that have taken place in our life that have got stuck, if you will. They're built in. And think of these as habits, okay? Okay, so you can see it. So we've got all these habits, and they started when we were kids. When we were just a little baby, these concepts began to come into our lives. Now, just depending on where you were at and how you were raised. If you were raised in an affluent home, maybe you were raised in a poor home and your family was on welfare, or you just never had a lot of money and you would ask for money. It's like, hey, we can't afford that. That was maybe a language that took place in your life, was we can't afford it. Or maybe you were raised in a home that it was always, well, how can we? What can we do? And that was a different language. Maybe you were raised in a religious home, so you were taught certain concepts. Or maybe you were raised in an anti-religious home. So regardless of what it was, if you were born in the United States, that would look very different than being raised in, say, an African village or something like that. So all of these things happen in our subconscious mind. We get all these habits, all these things that have been taught to us, if you will, and all of those habits become what we call a paradigm. So we'll put that here. Okay, so these paradigms is what really controls us. It's not this conscious mind that controls our activities. It's what's in our subconscious mind. So if you think about it like this for a minute, the way that we think. So if we have, I'm just going to call it X-type thoughts. These are our thoughts, the X-type thoughts. And then in our subconscious mind, we have X-type thoughts. So in our body, we're going to have X-type results, right? So from our body is going to come results. All right. So what happens is, unless something changes here, nothing is going to change here. So a lot of people get caught up and they're like frustrated because it's like, I want to do this. That's up here in the intellectual mind. I want to. I love it. It's a great idea. But what happens is when they want to do this, when they change their thinking, and we'll call this a Y idea, okay? So they try to change and say, hey, I've got this great idea. I want to start this business. Maybe I'm going to get married. Maybe I'm going to move across the country or out of the country. Maybe I'm going to just sell everything that I have and I'm just going to go after my dream. Those are like contrary to very possibly what's going on here. So when you carry this Y idea down into your subconscious mind, it becomes a battle. It's like this fight. And it's like, nope, we don't like that. That's uncomfortable. That does not jive with me. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to explain it a little bit later in a different video, but it's because of our body and that we're a molecular structure, and there's these vibrations that are going on within us, and they're fighting against one another. So what happens is the battle takes place, the X wins, the Y, we say, look, take it easy. You've got a good job. You've got an insurance. You got a 401k. Just relax. Stay where you're at. You know, that marriage, you know what? You're fine being single. This is going to create chaos in your life. Don't go that route. Just keep things equal. Just keep dating, okay? if that was the case. And I know guys like that. I'm like, marry the girl, okay? And it's like, but they're scared because there's this battle going on. So what has to happen is we have to change the paradigm in order to change the results and really get what we want in this world. So that's the concept that I wanted to just share with you today, just to get it started, just to get the conversation started, is how do I change my activity? How do I stop running through every year and going, gosh, I say the same thing every January. I'm going to change. Things are going to be different this year, but it never changes. Well, this is why. And at least if you understand the concept and you get a little idea of how your mind works, then you're like, oh, now I'm not saying it's easy. It's actually hard. It's very hard because there's a battle and we don't like conflict. So there becomes this conflict here. We go back to just our normal, comfortable, or we just little bitty changes. Well, we can have massive changes. Life is short, and I don't know about you, but I want to make massive changes in this world. I intend to. And I have a better understanding now of why, in some cases, I haven't had the success that I've wanted. Some people would look at me and go, well, you're having a pretty good, successful life. Well, that's relative, okay? Mine is very relative. My success to somebody who's not doing very good, it looks like I'm, on top of the moon or something. But I'm getting around people and I'm going, holy smokes, what other people are doing, and they're doing it in half or a third or a tenth of using the activity that I'm using. I'm like, I've got to change my paradigm, which means I got to change my habits. And when that changes, my whole world changes. So I'm going to be sharing these. As I made a decision, I'm going to be studying this all through 2017. I've gone to Bob Proctor's seminar on leadership just recently, last month, and then in April, I'm going to be going to another one in Toronto, Canada, and I'm going to be sharing these concepts. If you want to continue to learn and grow, of course, you could go in and listen to Bob Proctor's stuff. If you've been around me the last several months, I've been pushing some of that out and trying to encourage other people because that's really what I want. That is my passion. That is my dream. That's what I want to accomplish, is help other people accomplish what they want to. Help people understand, what is your purpose in this world? What are your dreams? When you're no longer on this earth, how do you want to have affected the world, people's lives? What will be said about you later on in life? All right. Well, I encourage you to continue to listen if you like. I'll be sharing these videos and sharing concepts, and as I grow, I'm going to help you grow as well. Feel free to reach out to me also if you have any questions, and I just want to encourage you to have a great day, and I want you to think like a world changer. Have a world changer mindset, because here's the truth. Every one of us are world changers. In some way, you're changing somebody's world, and it's either for the positive or it's for the negative, but either way, we're affecting the world, so let's do it in a very positive way. Okay, until next time, this is Lionel Wilson. Have a great day.